On the edge of a small, windy hill sat an old man named Mr. Collins, watching as children flew their colorful kites against the bright blue sky. Among them was a boy named Daniel, who was struggling to get his kite off the ground. The wind would pick up, lift the kite a little, then suddenly drop it, sending it crashing back down. Frustrated, Daniel stomped his feet and tugged at the string. "Why won't it fly?" he muttered under his breath. Mr. Collins, sitting on a nearby bench, smiled to himself. He had seen this before. He motioned to Daniel. "Come over here, boy. Let me tell you something." Daniel approached reluctantly, dragging his kite along the ground. "I can't get it to stay in the air. It keeps falling." Mr. Collins nodded. "Kites can be tricky like that. You see, it's not about the kite itself. It's about how you handle the wind." "The wind?" Daniel asked, confused. "But the wind is the problem. It's too strong sometimes, and then it just stops." "That's right," Mr. Collins replied. "Life is a lot like that wind. It doesn't always blow the way you want it to. Sometimes it's too strong, sometimes it's weak. But if you learn to work with it, your kite will soar." Mr. Collins stood up and handed Daniel a kite that had been resting beside him, much larger than the one Daniel was struggling with. "Here, try this one." Daniel looked at the kite in awe. "But this kite is huge. I don't think I can handle it." The old man smiled. "Just trust the wind. Don't fight it and don't be afraid of it. Let it guide you." Hesitant but determined, Daniel held the kite tightly and felt the wind begin to pick up. Instead of pulling hard against it, he loosened his grip, letting the wind carry the kite upward. Slowly, the kite began to rise higher, and for the first time that day, it stayed in the air. Daniel's face lit up with joy. "It's flying! It's actually flying!" Mr. Collins nodded, watching the kite soar. "You see, when you stop resisting the wind and let it help you, even the strongest gusts become your ally." As Daniel continued to watch his kite dance in the sky, Mr. Collins leaned over and said, "In life, challenges are like the wind. If you fight them, they'll knock you down. But if you learn to work with them, they'll lift you higher than you ever thought possible." Daniel smiled, watching his kite soar even higher. "So, instead of fighting the wind, I should learn to fly with it?" Mr. Collins smiled back. "Exactly. It's not the size of your kite that matters, but how well you use the wind that comes your way." So, a beautiful lesson that we all learned here is, life's challenges are like the wind, wild and unpredictable, sometimes fierce enough to knock you down. But if you stop battling against the gusts and learn to ride them, those very winds will carry you higher than you ever dreamed possible.